Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and as you can see, you can actually see me, I have a new camera. Well, not a new camera, but a Steve, one of my friends, another YouTuber, he has a channel called Steve's Vintage Long Stay Workshop, and basically he does this kind of stuff but with all old radios. It's mainly vintage radios that he does. He has given me his old camera. It was a little bit, basically the bottom of it had been damaged, so it wouldn't fit back on a mount properly, and he said would I like it, and I've managed to repair what was wrong with it, so like I say, I made a new base for it so it can fit on my tripod. I'm recording on it now. I had a little play with it earlier, and it's another Samsung. It's a slightly different model than what I had, but very, very similar specification to my old camera. I tried the audio on it, and the audio sounded just the same as my old camera. So we're back in business, and I can carry on doing my videos. So a massive, massive, massive thanks to Steve for giving me this camera, and a huge thanks to some of the some of the other people that have commented. Someone even offered to buy me another camera, which, I mean, that's just out of this world, you know. But I'm happy with what Steve's given me here. This will allow me to carry on, and like I say, it should be exactly the same as it was before, because it's a very, very similar specification camera. So anyway, less of me ranting, let's get back on with the Amstrad, because while I've not been able to do a lot of filming, I have been having to play about with this thing, and we've got some things which are not so good, and we've got some things which are good. So I'll get the camera set back up. We'll get over here now, and I'll show you what I've been up to. So back in a sec. Right, okay, this is our current basic setup, what I've been playing about with. So we've got the main board, which we know is currently in working order. We've got the keyboard connected up to it, and I've got a couple of floppy drives now hooked up to it. And the interesting thing is, just hooking a floppy disk drive up has actually made things change quite considerably. I'll get you up on the screen. Oh, in fact, we can have a look at something on the screen as well. Oops. Let me see if I can get you around and up on that screen. Hopefully you're going to be able to see that alright. I'll get the... Oops. Should switch this on before I started. I'll switch the monitor on. As you can see, we've gone over to an LCD monitor here, and it produces a reasonable picture. I have noticed one thing with it, but I don't think it's anything too bad. Right. I'll get my little box connected back up. In like that. Plug that box in so we can actually get some power to it. That's that plugged in there like that. Right, okay, now we're ready to power up. As we can see, we'll look there, we've got the please wait like we had last time. Let's see if I can get you in a little bit, see if you can see this. There, oops. There we go. If you actually look there now, we've actually got Amstrad PC1512 version 1. We've got the 1986 Amstrad Consumer Electronics PLC. Please set time and tape. Please set user options. Now that will come. We'll come back to that in a minute. Please fit new batteries. Well, at the moment we can't fit new batteries because we've nowhere to actually fit them. But like I said, so far so good. We seem to actually that seems to actually be working. Now it's actually asking us to insert a system disk. Essentially, if you don't have any drives plugged into this thing, it just brings up that one line we were seeing last time we had it running, and it won't do anything else apart from bring that one line up. I have had a few issues getting a disk drive to actually work on this computer. I got that one out at first. There. I actually thought this was an old Amstrad drive, and it actually turns out that's a 1.2 meg drive, so I couldn't quite get that one to work. And you can't just use every PC 360k floppy drive. I'll get you back down here for the moment. You can see the board. So you can't just use any bog standard 360k floppy drive on one of these Amstrads. It has to be a floppy drive that allows you to actually select the drive select on the floppy drive. I'll show you that actually on this one. I actually borrowed this drive. It's the drive B out of my Zenith 286, and even though it was a 286, it still had a 360k floppy as the B drive, which is this one here. And if we look on the top there, a big bank of jumpers across there, that actually allows you to select the drive select from DF0 to DF4. I think it's DF3 or DF4. It'll be DF3, yeah. Yes, you have drive select for 0, 1, 2 and 3. Because as I was mentioning in a previous video, the Amstrad's a bit strange. It's not the only PC to actually do this, but basically what happened is IBM, there's the disk standard that the floppy drives use. I believe it's called the Stuttgart. I don't remember if it's the Stuttgart standard or the Stuttgart standard. It's something German anyway, and it sounds like that. And what happened was basically IBM they used that standard, but they kind of modified it a bit, and that's the reason why we have the twist in the drive cable on most IBM PCs. Amstrad didn't do that. They actually stuck rigidly with the standard, so instead of having the twist in the cable, you actually have to address the drives actually using the drive address jumpers. So a bit more like an Amiga or something like that, how you actually address the floppy disks. So, like I said, fortunately that 360k floppy drive there does have them jumpers, so I was able to set that as DF0 and get a 360k boot disk, which I've got here. We'll put that in the drive. And shut down, and we'll press enter. If I actually get you back up on the screen. Oops. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. As you can see here, we're actually come up starting MS-DOS. Hit there, and there we go. We've actually got the Amstrad to boot. I mean, there's very little on this disk if we look. If I just type dir, we've just got command com, we've got xcopy, format, we've got a mouse driver, interserve, which is basically a serial and parallel link program to allow you to transfer data, and we've got fdisk on there. So it's the basics you need basically to get a computer to work. What I will say, I can only just see, I don't know if you're going to be able to make this out, but as you can see the graphics are working, but we've got ever such a faint kind of like shimmer going down all the white text. And the weird thing is, I can only see it when we get that just like plain white text up like that. If I actually run any other software, you don't seem to see it. In fact, I think I've got something here we can just demonstrate that with, and it actually show how good the graphics really are on this, considering it's just CGA. Let's see if I can, there it is. I've got, this is an old shareware, PC shareware cover disc from, when's this from? December 1990. So let's put that in. So this is age appropriate for the actual system, to be fair. We'll put this in. We'll type menu. Enter. And that basically the only reason I'm loading this is just to show what the graphics are actually like. But when I get something full up like that, I can't really see that shimmer anymore. It's only when you've just got plain white text on the black background when you're in DOS, and it's only when you've got like a full sheet of text, and it's not really that noticeable. But there is a very slight shimmer to it. Obviously we've got a CGA menu there, and that looks really fairly good. I'm quite actually pleased with how that's come out on the screen. It's not bad at all, that. You can just see it ever such a slight shimmer there just coming through. See if I can zoom you in so we see if you can actually make it out. I don't know if it's going to make out or not. It should be actually look a lot better for the simple fact that we're shooting this. Let's see if that. There we go. Can you make that out? Like a little bit of a shimmer just to the white on the lettering there, but that's the only thing I can really see. Apart from that, the image actually looks really, really good for a crappy little circuit that I just knocked up. I'm quite pleased with it. What I might do, and it's something that Gadget UK was actually mentioning and suggesting, is that I might try different 7404 and 7414 LS Logic in there. Simply the fact that you've got different speeds of LS Logic. When you see like a 7404, like it'll be a 74 LS04 or a 74 HC04 or what have you, and there's like N's on the end. There's various different nomenclature for the 7404. They're not all the same. The 7414 is the same. They're not all the same. I'm just wondering if I try some different ones and see whether that will actually affect that. But anyway, that's going to be for a different video. This video is more about playing with these drives. So as you can see, we've actually got the computer to boot up there. What we do have well, it's not an issue. It's just a strange feature with the Amstrad at the moment. Is the 3.5 inch floppy. This is the reason why I'm actually booting off that 5 1/4 inch. Because the 3.5 inch there, although it works, and I can actually load a disc on it. Let me see if I've got. What have I done with that disc now? There it is. I've got a disc here. I can actually put that disc in. Well, so you saw me put the disc in the drive there. We'll get back up on the screen so you can see the screen. We'll get out of that, exit back to DOS. And we can go to drive B and B:, and DIR it. I've actually got CGA Lemmings on here. I was just playing with Lemmings just to see if I could get that to load. The thing is, if you look at the size of the disc, we've got 252 bytes of the actual data, and we've got 100 bytes free there. That disc's 360k. And that's the issue that I'm having at the moment. Now I think I know what the issue actually is, but yeah. Although the 3.5 inch disk drive there will actually work, the computer thinks that's a 5 1/4 inch 360k disk drive. Which means that if you format a 720k boot disk and put it in that as the A drive, it won't boot. It will try to boot. It will. If it's a 6.2 boot disk, it will come up starting MS-DOS and it'll get part way through and then it'll lock up. Because, like I said, it is thinking that that is a 360k floppy drive. There is a way you can get around it, kind of, sort of. What I did to actually get that disc there to work was I put a 720k disc in the drive. I formatted it in the drive as a 360k disc, and then I could actually use that in my bridge PC upstairs and copy the files onto it, and provided I didn't copy more than 360k's worth of data onto the disc, even though the computer thought it was a 720k disc. Provided I only put up under 360k's worth of data on there, this could still read it. If I go over that 360k, it won't work. It just comes up with errors. It won't actually finish copying the data onto the disk because there's only 360k of the disk actually formatted. Now, as far as I remember, this can all be addressed and this can all be sorted out by, remember when we first booted this up and it was coming up with user options? Well, this is the thing with the Amstrad. Unlike pretty much, let's see if I can get you down a bit there. There we go. Unlike pretty much every other XT class PC, this thing actually has a setup program, which hopefully I can find. Otherwise, we are stuck with this. But essentially, you have to run a setup program and to tell the computer that the one of the drives is not a 360k drive; it's actually a 720k drive. Like I say, it's a long time since I played with these, but I do remember having an issue back in the 90s, exactly the same as this, in actually trying to fit a 720k floppy drive to one of these Amstrads for someone. And actually, if I remember correctly, there is an option in the setup program to actually tell the computer, yes, it's a 720k 360. It's a 720k 3.5 inch drive, not a 5.25 inch 360k drive. So that's basically where we're at with the floppy drives. I don't know what I'm actually going to end up using. That one needs to go back in my Zen F286. I only just borrowed it for this actual testing. I do somewhere in the attic have a big box of 5.25 inch floppy drives. They were all spares and repair returns from a place, so they will need some work on them. But I'm pretty sure at least a couple of them are the genuine Amstrad 5.25 inch. Otherwise, we're on to just using the 5.25, the 3.5 inch that I've got here. The drive does work, as you've just seen. However, it is going to need a service. I'm not going to do that in this video. This is more a bit of a talky, rambly, and see how my new camera kind of performs kind of video. But it is gummed up. Like I say, if you put a disc in, the disc goes in fine. When you try and eject it, that's actually come out reasonably well, but a few times when I've tried to eject a disc, it's actually got stuck, and I've actually had to get my my little pliers like that and ease the disc out. So that disc drive is definitely going to need a look at, and it is one of the types of drive. I don't know if it's a genuine Amstrad one, because Amstrad did offer these as an option. But there were loads and loads of companies that offered kits to add a 3.5 inch floppy drive to your Amstrad. Hence, with the rails and everything, so it went into the 5.25 inch bay. And more importantly, it had to be the kind of drive, like I said, with all the drive select jumpers on it. This was set to DF0 because this was the original A drive. Like I said, obviously because I've lost them settings and I don't have the setup program yet. I've actually set that as DF1 and I've set the 5.25 as DF0, so we've got that as A and that as B. I only have enough space obviously in the computer if I'm going to use a 3.5 and an original hard drive for one of the drives. My options there are find a hard card and put a hard card in it, and then I can use 2 floppy drives in there and the hard disk is actually in one of the ISA slots. Or I could go with a modern compact flash XT IDE kind of solution. I am actually kind of, even though I wanted to keep this thing fairly original, I am sort of leaning towards that that way, and there's a reason behind it, and that reason is, where is he now? The original hard drive here. This is the hard drive that came in the computer when I bought it, and it's failing basically. This hard drive's I don't think there's anything I could really do with it. I'll show you actually. I will in fact I'll just pause the video and I'll just set this up and connect this up to the computer, and I will show you basically what it's doing. So back in a sec. Right, okay, as you can see, I've got it set up here. I've got the, can you see what I'm showing you here? Let me get you down a little bit. There we go, that's better, isn't it? So we've got the 8-bit controller there. That's very these were all over the place on these cheaper systems. Western Digital, 8-bit MFM controller. Actually, I can't remember if this is an MFM and RLL one, because they do both and they're very, very, very similar. These were also used in a lot of hard cards. So basically you had this controller there, then you actually had a hard drive, very much like that there, just out of the frame, mounted in a frame at the back of it there. So it just went into a slot like that. I haven't seen a working one in a very, very, very long time. But it's a very standard card, that, and they were usually connected to either Tandon and Minscribe 3.5-inch ID hard drives, not ID, sorry, RLL hard drives, which like I said, I can't sure if this is an RLL or the MFM version, but not a lot of difference in them. We'll fire it up and I will show you basically what it's doing. In fact, I know what I've done. I've put the cables on the wrong way round because I'm a bloody idiot. Should go on that way round. Same as basically a floppy drive. If you put the cables on the wrong way round, it just won't work. It won't really do any damage. At least I've never done any damage doing it. Right, there we go. The hard drive spinning up. I will get you up on the screen so you can see what's happening up there. There we go. Now it's just done a quick seek on the floppy drive, and if we're lucky, keep your fingers crossed. Hope you can hear that, but the hard drive is making some noises, and there you go, it's actually booted. It's actually fired up, and basically we've got a menu system. So no one has formatted this drive. This drive actually has its original DOS install from probably back in the 90s, and someone created this little menu system to get their software running. So we've got WordStar, we've got Ability, we've actually got Gem Desktop on here, which is, you know, digital research as an alternative to Windows. I think it, for the early versions, it was a lot better than what Windows were doing. Info Plus, which I'm not sure what that is, Publisher, Guide to MS-DOS, and we've got Park Drive Heads, which is something you really need for these old, like I said, MFM and RLL hard drives. We are basically in DOS now. We can either hit one of those, or we can just use DOS as it is. So if I type dir, it will bring the directory structure of it up. But here's the problem. This is basically all we can do. If I try and run any software on here, we just come up with a seek error. Basically the hard drive's gone. Even though it will boot from DOS, and it's MS-DOS 4.1 I think it's got on it. So anything we try and run on here, and it will just fail. Let's try something. In fact, let's try to run in Gem. So we type Gem, hit enter. You can hear the hard drive starting. And there we go, seek error reading drive C. And unfortunately, like I said, I have been playing with this, and every single piece of software you try and run on here, you get the same problem. Seek error reading drive C. I don't honestly think there's going to be even anything that's going to be recoverable on here. Which is a bit of a shame, because it looks like there was some reasonably interesting stuff on here, but it's got DOS 3.2 directory there. Like I say, I think it's DOS 4.1 that it's actually running, but yeah, that hard drive, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be any good. We could try low-level formatting it. It is a possibility that it could possibly come round with a low-level format. I mean, obviously we'll lose everything that's on there, but nothing that's on there is you can do anything with at the moment anyway. The other possibility is that just as you do, this is actually one of my spare Amstrad drives. I believe this actually did come out of an Amstrad at one point, from back in the 90s, which I've had sat up in the attic. I've not tried this since the 90s. It did used to run with a controller, I believe. I do actually still have the controller this ran with, but I think it's the same one as this. There is a chance that this might just work. If not, I will fish out the controller I know that definitely does work with this hard drive, and we'll just for curiosity. Like I said, I don't even know what's on this drive. All I know is it's one that I had for the Amstrads back in the 90s. And hopefully that card is going to detect and be able to run straight with it. If not, like I said, I'll have to have a hunt round in the attic and see if I can find that other controller card. Because this was actually kept at one point with its card, and I'm not sure what's happened to it now. It's got put somewhere else. Right, this is going to be fun because the power connector is over there, and I only have, with this lash up, I only have a couple of power connectors. Oops, that's what I didn't want to happen. Now, how are we going to do this? Right, let's see if we can get these cables a little bit more happy. This probably won't work, to be fair, but it's worth a bit of fun just to see. Right, that's fitting in there. Can we get that to plug in there as well? It's the only thing when you, like I said, when you're lashing up and we've not got very long cables. I do want to be able to get to that there. If I can put a floppy disk in, I can do. Yeah, I should be able to do that. That's going to be reasonable there. Let's just hope this is going to be long enough that I can plug it back in and we can get power to the main board, which we can. Right, so that's everything set back up. We'll switch on and then I'll get you back up on the screen and you can have a quick shufty at that. So let's switch on, see what happens. That's the hard drive firing up. The computer's fired back up. Oh, that sounds sick. That sounds like something that's not run for a very long time. Let me get you back on there. Right, so it's not going to boot. Let us just see whether F-Disk's going to pick it up though. Let me get my DOS boot disk. We'll get that in the drive. That way around. I need to make some extra cables and things up for doing this. Some extra longer power cables, because it's a bit dodgy the way I've got this just lying about like that. Anyway, I've put my DOS boot disk in. Let's dear me, there's a lot of vibration coming off that hard drive. My entire table's shaking. I'm literally just curious to see whether F-Disk's going to pick this hard drive up. There we go. Right, let's see. No, it's not finding it at all. What I will do is let's switch that off. That doesn't sound healthy, does it? That hard drive really does not sound healthy. And I do want this computer as a computer to use. It's not just going to be a just a shelf piece. So, to be honest, I will see if I can do anything with that tandem, but I highly doubt it. But to be fair, that tandem sounds. This is an ST225. These are pretty bomb-proof disk drives, hard disk drives, but that does not sound healthy. That sounds like a drive that's not long for this world. It's not something, like I say, if it was a computer that may get fired up every once in a blue moon, fair enough. But I would actually quite like to have this computer as something I can use. So I'd really, I want something a little bit more reliable than that. So we will have a play, see if there is anything that can be done with that drive, but I highly doubt it. I'm guessing it's probably heads or something like that. We can have a little look at it. I'll look at the model number on it. I'll do some research and some googling, see if I can find any known issues with them which are sortable. There are certainly some hard drive issues which can be addressed and fixed. If not, then we're probably going to be looking at something like a compact flash to XT-IDE kind of solution, and put something like that in it, which would mean then there won't be any issue at all with. Let me get you back on me now. Seeing we've done looking at things like that now, haven't we? Oops. There we go. Get that zoomed out. Still getting used to the controls on this camera, because the zoom, instead of being on the side on my old camera, it's on the top on this one. But I'll get used to that. That's not a big problem. But yeah, like I said, if I do go with an XT to IDE and compact flash solution, it does mean we can put both a 3.5 and a 5.25 inch drive in it, and it'll look really nice, and it just look like a really nicely expanded Amstrad from back in the day. There was plenty of them Amstrads that had both a 3.5 inch, a 5.25 inch floppy drive, and then, like I said, they'd use something like a hard card for the actual hard drive solution inside, which I suppose a modern compact XT-IDE and compact flash, it's just a modern version of the same kind of thing. So it still look the part. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. This wasn't meant to be a long video or anything. I just wanted to show the computer actually booting. Give me some comments on what you think about the graphics that I'm getting on that screen through my little converter that I've built. I will have another fiddle with that, see if I can get it any better, see if I can get that little bit of smearing gone. But yeah, just let me know what you think of that, because I am relatively pleased with how that's come out. And like I said, we still have lots to do on this computer. I think the next thing we'll do is get it running as 640k. We need to get that RAM upgraded to its max. We could stick the Masco processor, which is still currently residing on the old scrap board. We could take that off there and get that on there. I'm probably not going to take the RAM off this board and put the 640, you know, the extra RAM off this board, the extra 128k off this board straight on there. For the simple fact it is such a hodgepodge of different manufacturers and speeds, and I will go through my DRAM stock and I will get 2 banks of matching all the same speed, hopefully the same manufacturer RAM, and we can, like I said, we can get that upgraded to its full 640k, and we can, I suppose at that point really, we can actually get it built back into the case, and we can start reassembling this thing, get it back into a decent looking computer, and then we can then start looking at perhaps a couple of the upgrades, you know, you know, XTID, something like that. See what cards I actually want to put in this system. One thing is you've only got 3 8-bit ISA expansion slots, so you are a little bit limited obviously to what you can put in this. Do I want to put a sound card in there? Do I want to put a network card in there? Obviously I'm going to need one of them slots for some kind of hard drive solution, so that only leaves me 2 slots remaining, so I'll have to decide what other cards are going to go in. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit now, yeah, I'm just super pleased that I've got this camera so I can actually carry on doing videos for everyone. I'm really pleased I've actually got the Amstrad to a point where it actually boots up and we can actually see something on the screen that's not too terrible. It's not just a rolling mess, you know, it's actually got readable, usable text. So I will say, hope you enjoyed this little update on the project, and there will be another video coming up fairly soon, as soon as I've got a spare few hours to tinker with this thing again. So thanks for watching and goodbye.